in high definition. This is CBS 2 News at 6.
For 2 nights, hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets in violent protests following a deadly officer-involved shooting in the Westlake district. Tonight, hundreds are expected to turn out for a community meeting to try to find answers and help avoid a third night of unrest. You're looking at a live picture from Sky 2 at the site of that meeting, John Lichty Middle School, as people arrive for tonight's gathering. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Majors. Laura has the night off. Right now it's 6. That meeting starts in just about a half an hour. LAPD leaders, they're hoping to diffuse some of the tension that's been built up since a day laborer was killed by officers on Sunday when they say he refused to put down a knife. CBS 2's Rita Garcia is live at the scene of the shooting where officers are on tactical alert. Rita.
Absolutely, Paul, and that's because we're just a few minutes away from that meeting, so police are now on tactical alert. And on the ground here, I can hear the choppers up in the air, but let me show you what's going on over my shoulder. Police are allowing several people to kind of hover over the memorial and leave their candles and kind of pay their respects for that laborer. Now, they are not allowing, and they have no tolerance for large crowds tonight, I am told. And also, that meeting starts in about 30 minutes, and I'm told they, too, tonight will be in search for answers.
7 horas según su necesidad de ellos.
Cesar Ramirez waits for work outside the Home Depot near 6th and Union in the Westlake district. It's where Manuel Jimenez would report to.
Electricidad, plomería, carpintería.
The Guatemalan native was known to work as a painter and carpenter. For $8 an hour, he'd stand sometimes all day asking for work. And that's why his co-workers say protesters turned on the police. Angry crowds lashed out at the LAPD demanding answers after the laborer was shot dead. According to witnesses, he was threatening people with this knife found later at the scene.
There was a lady, 2 ladies in a baby stroller. The lady came across the street. When she crossed the street, she told us the guy tried to stab her.
That's what she told
That's what she told us in her own words.
LAPD's top cop says the officers had no choice but to open fire since Jimenez refused to put the weapon down. But laborers question the sequence of events in light of the fact that no one has talked or even found the woman who claims their friend attacked her.
When people start migrating into the street or engage in anything that could be illegal, the officers are here to encourage them to get back up on the sidewalks.
After 2 nights of unruly crowds, officers are still lining the streets here. Workers say it's a starting point at rebuilding their relationship with the community, but ultimately nothing will bring their friend back.
And back out here live, here's another look at several people kind of paying their respects. That's what police are allowing. They're allowing them to come by, leave candles and flowers. They will not tolerate large crowds, though. And right now, I can only see about 2 officers right here, but I am told most of them have already moved to John Lichty Middle School, where a conference and a community meeting is underway in just a few minutes. Reporting live from the Westlake District, I'm Rita Garcia, CBS 2 News.
Thank you, Rita. The question of force raised in this incident sheds new light on the varying non-lethal weapons policies of local law enforcement. Bike patrol deputies for the LA and Orange County Sheriff's Departments don't carry beanbag weapons because they're too heavy and bulky. They do have the option of carrying a taser, but some deputies choose not to because it's cumbersome as they ride their bicycles. Bicycle deputies in San Bernardino and Ventura counties, on the other hand, are required to carry a taser once they've been trained to use it. Ventura County Sheriff's deputies also have the option of carrying a baton. Now, this incident has stirred debate over appropriate police response when an officer is threatened by a citizen with a weapon. It's a question of force, and we'll take a closer look at that issue just ahead at 6:15. An Amber Alert has been issued here in Southern California after 3 young children were taken by their biological mother in Arkansas. Police say the woman was last seen at the Los Angeles Union Mission in downtown LA, and that's where CBS 2's Dave Lopez is live with the latest for us. Dave.
Well, Paul, last seen not quite a week ago. She was here several days, and people who remember her, and a lot of people do, said that she appeared to be a very good mother. However, authorities are quite concerned because the Arkansas court ordered that the children be taken away from her. They were going to do that through the Los Angeles Office of Protective Services, and she is described by authorities as, quote, unstable, schizophrenic, and paranoid, also mentally unstable. Her name is Osha Jackson. She's 39. What's unusual about this woman is she has on her forehead tattooed her name, Osha Jackson, then a hyphen, and the name Ice Cube as well. Again, she was seen here last, not quite a week ago, and an all-out search because of the children is underway. The Union Rescue Mission confirms that Osha Jackson and her 3 children, ages 3, 1 year, and 4 months, did indeed stay here for several days, checking out on September 2nd, vanishing more like it.
All of the services required for a person to be here with children, she was unresponsive. We set up a interview for her with the Skid Row assessment team. She didn't show. We set up an interview with her for medical to look at the kids. No show.
How were the
for any
children?
of
Were they in
those.
pretty good shape?
They were fine.
A few other residents who did not want to go on camera said they remember Miss Jackson and her children. She was very, very quiet. And according to the Union Rescue Mission, there has never been an Amber Alert involving one of their former residents. Now, the detective in charge of this just told me a few minutes ago he believes that she's still in the Los Angeles area. This is the car and the license that she was last seen in. It's an Arkansas plate, 96 Honda Accord, don't have a color, but the license plate is 680NJB. It's on your screen there. Again, it is very important, in the words of the LAPD, to find this woman. The children are very young, 3, a year, and 4 months. Again, the woman obviously would not be hard to recognize. The tattoo on her forehead, her name, Osha Jackson, hyphenated Ice Cube. If you see her, you recognize that car, please give the LAPD a call. 3 children are at stake. Reporting live from downtown Los Angeles, Dave Lopez, CBS 2 News.
All right, Dave, thank you. A devastating loss for an El Monte community tonight after a local businessman is found murdered at his auto shop. Police say Hector Urias was found shot to death in the office of his El Monte repair shop this morning. The 48-year-old was a popular community figure, an active volunteer, and an auto racer with his own team. The news of his death spread quickly, with friends and family coming to the shop to mourn.
We've been good friends. Everybody, all his friends here just love the guy. It's terrible.
Police believe Urias was killed last night. Friends say the victim and his wife were supposed to sign the final paperwork today to adopt a baby girl that they've been fostering for the past 6 months. Well, Governor Schwarzenegger is holding firm in his refusal to defend California's same-sex marriage ban in court. Schwarzenegger's lawyers filed a letter today with the state Supreme Court stating that the governor has authority to refuse to appeal a federal judge's ruling that overturned Prop 8. A conservative legal group is trying to persuade the court to force the governor and Attorney General Jerry Brown to challenge the August 4th ruling. Well, this Saturday marks the 9th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. A new memorial bench is set to be installed in Hermosa Beach this weekend. The bench is adorned with 2,998 various buttons, pens, and badges to remember the victims killed in the attacks. The buttons were mostly collected by students in the community. The unveiling is set to take place Saturday at 1 p.m. on the Greenbelt, just south of Pier Avenue. It's time now to check in with Jackie Johnson, get a first look at our weather. Today, like yesterday, Jackie.
That is right, Paul, and it's very unusual, but we will take it. It's been a nice change, if you don't mind the gloomy conditions for a few days. In fact, our Mount Wilson camera, you really can't see much, can you? And this has actually been the case over the last few days, where we do stay socked in throughout much of the day. In fact, that marine layer, 4,000 feet deep. Whenever it gets to around 2,000 to 3,000 feet deep, we start to squeeze some drizzle out of it, and that has definitely been the case. In fact, yesterday we even had some light showers, and what that's done is kept our temperatures down quite a bit. Temperatures still only into the 60s, low 70s, so again, we haven't had much of a warm-up at all, but we do have some gusty winds to talk about. Wind advisory in effect for the Antelope Valley until 9 p.m. tonight. There is a warm-up in the 5-day forecast. We'll look at that and that weekend forecast coming up. Paul, back to you.
All right, Jackie, thank you. Call it lingering road rage. President Obama's Southland visit caused a traffic nightmare that was big, even for L.A. Now see what city officials are doing to try to make sure it doesn't happen again. We'll have that story coming up. Plus, a mural by a Mexican artist was so controversial when it was painted at El Pueblo in 1937, it was quickly painted over. Just ahead, the plans to have it prominently redisplayed. And the Bruins hit the practice field on campus this morning. Ahead in sports, their reaction to starting the conference schedule so early in the season. And coming up tonight at 11, another salary scandal, this time in Vernon. While city workers are laid off and stripped of their health insurance, city leaders were taking lavish first-class trips. We'll have reaction. Plus, their research was funded by the last Stand Up to Cancer benefit. See how a local doctor and his dream team are opening up a new door of hope for breast cancer patients. Boy, there's no doubt about this. Few drivers on the west side will forget the traffic mess last month when President Obama was in town for some fundraising. His motorcade meant Olympic Boulevard was shut down at 5 p.m., the height of rush hour traffic. Drivers were stopped for hours. So today, the City Council Transportation Committee tried to figure out if there's anything that can be done the next time the president comes to town.
Are we stuck closing off all these streets, or can we say, look, we're only willing to tie up traffic and endanger our public safety to some degree, so we're going to give you one street?
I don't think it would be a good idea to tell the Secret Service, you're only going to have one street, everything else is open. We'd be setting ourselves up, I think, for disaster.
As it turns out, there is really little the city can do. It is the Secret Service that makes the final decision on the route for the motorcade and which streets will be closed. Well, 70 years ago, a local mural was so controversial it was immediately covered up. Well, times have changed, and now that mural is restored and prominently redisplayed. That story's just ahead. And the debate over whether police officers should shoot to kill when a citizen charges at them with a weapon. But first, Jim Hill with What's Next in Sports. Jim.
No, Paul, talk about debate. How about the debate about Reggie Bush? Because it will continue and continue. And now Reggie Bush finally talks about losing his Heisman Trophy and the position that he has put the Trojans in.
It's an unfortunate situation for everybody, including, the kids at USC.
Will he or won't he lose his Heisman Trophy for 2005? We'll hear more from Reggie Bush. That's next in sports.
The controversial deadly shooting over the weekend involving an LAPD officer and a day laborer is raising questions of force used by officers. Should an officer shoot to kill when faced with a suspect armed with a weapon? CBS 2's Randy Page examines both sides of the debate.
The two LAPD bullets that took the life of Manuel Jimenez also tore through the fabric of a city that contains threads of mistrust and suspicion of the police who patrol its streets. One central question emerges from the demonstrations which have followed. Should a police officer armed with a gun shoot and kill a suspect armed with a knife?
A knife doesn't shoot bullets.
Luis Carrillo is an attorney who has sued the LAPD in cases alleging excessive use of force.
In broad daylight, when you can see a person holding something in his hands, you don't have to shoot to kill.
We asked the LAPD for an on-camera interview with anyone who could articulate the department's policy on use of deadly force. That request was denied. But the union, which represents LAPD officers, has this to say about the death of Manuel Jimenez. When an individual armed with a deadly weapon makes a decision to advance on police officers, then that individual is solely responsible for whatever the consequences may be.
A knife can be thrown extremely quickly.
Sergio Robleto ought to know. The former commander of LAPD South Bureau Homicide, now retired, faced off against two knife-wielding suspects in his 25-year career.
He can kill you. There's no doubt about it.
But both times Robleto faced knife-wielding assailants, he chose to use non-lethal force, one with his police baton, the other with a taser. It's a personal decision, he says, one that an officer has to live with for the rest of his life.
Most of these coppers, they came to help people, to save people. And only a small percentage of policemen ever have to take deadly force. You really have to know that. And when they do, I don't know of one that doesn't subsequently have second thoughts and wish they had not gone to work that day.
Decisions of life and death made in a split second that last a lifetime. In Los Angeles, Randy Page, CBS 2 News.
Here's something everybody can agree on. It's fall-like outside, Jackie.
It sure is.
Isn't
It definitely went from summer right to fall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to stay like that for another day. So tomorrow we're going to wake up with the cloudy skies, even some more drizzle. In fact, take a look at that Malibu camera. That actually looks pretty, don't you think?
There goes the property value.
You are right, Paul. And again, we are going to be dealing with this very deep marine layer again tomorrow. So temperatures, most areas 10 to 15 degrees below average. Not only do we have that, the cooler temperatures, but we also have some gusty winds. We've got a very strong onshore flow, so winds picking up out of the southwest. We've got wind advisories in the Antelope Valley through tonight. And again, tomorrow you will be waking up with cloudy conditions and some dense fog and even some drizzle. In the morning hours, temperatures will be running below average, and we are also talking about some warmer weather as soon as the weekend. So if you don't really like this weather so much, well, by Saturday and Sunday, I think you will be happy with the conditions. temperatures today, low 70s downtown. Normal high should be into the mid 80s. So again, our temperatures running well below average. We're currently in anywhere from 60 degrees in Sunland, 66 in Corona, 70 degrees in Riverside. Along the coast, temperatures will be into the mid to lower 60s. Winds picking up in the Antelope Valley right around 17 miles an hour coming in out of the southwest. The reason for that wind advisory, you could have gusts up to 45 miles an hour. And you can see how those clouds rolled in, and we didn't see much clearing at all. We could see some better clearing by tomorrow afternoon, but it's still going to be a day where we wake up with those gloomy conditions. What happened was a trough of low pressure started to dig in, pulling that cooler air from the north and also pulling in that deeper marine air. That'll last for another day. High pressure will be building in behind it, and once that ridge of high pressure builds in, that's when our skies will clear up better, and that's when our temperatures will warm up. But even after those temperatures warm up by the weekend, we're still looking at conditions about 5 degrees below average. So for tomorrow, cloudy skies, temperatures on the mild side, but you can see as soon as Friday, we start to see a little more sunshine, and then by Saturday and Sunday, nice day expected, anywhere from the upper 70s in the basin, upper 80s in the valleys, and the beaches cool tomorrow and staying mild into the 70s by this weekend. Back to you guys.
All right, Jackie, thank you very much. Time now to check in with Jim Hill. Everybody's still talking about Reggie Bush. Everybody's still talking about Reggie's Heisman Trophy.
That's right, and the organization that started this story is standing by their report because yesterday a Yahoo report claimed that former USC running back Reggie Bush, who was ruled ineligible for the 2005 season by the NC2A, could be stripped of his Heisman Trophy later this month. However, the Heisman Trust has said that no decision has been made. Bush addressed that issue earlier today.
It's not my decision anymore. It's not my choice. That's it. So,
do you think it's going to happen?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm waiting like you guys. I usually find out the same way you guys do.
Now, as far as UCLA is concerned, the Bruins will open up their packed-in schedule Saturday against 25th-ranked Stanford at 7:30 in Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. The Bruins hit the practice field on campus early this morning, and they're not in love with the fact that they have to open up their conference schedule so early this season.
You'd like to get your team more practice and more ready for the games that are really going to count against you. And you'd also like to have more film on them. They didn't exactly have to do much last week, and that's no slight to their opponent. It's just they didn't show you much, so they're a little bit of a mystery.
All right, everybody, in pro football, and the four-time defending AFC Western Division champion San Diego Chargers open up their regular season Monday night in Kansas City, which has always been considered a very difficult place to play. And many believe the Chiefs are rebuilding, but don't tell that to head coach Norv Turner.
Touchdown.
I've never been around a team that thinks of themselves as rebuilding. I know this team is, the Chiefs are a talented team, and I know they're going to go out and try to win every game they can, and they're going to be a challenge for us and a lot of people.
As far as golf is concerned, yesterday Tiger Woods was named as a captain's pick to the U.S. team for this year's Ryder Cup. Today, Tiger talked about the changes made at Cog Hill, home of this week's BMW Championship, and of course, where Tiger has won 5 times.
It's more strategic. You got to place your golf ball around here. A lot more fingers on the greens. You got to fire into. But he did a pretty good job. He made it a lot more difficult for sure.
And that's a look at sports for the 6 o'clock hour. You know, Paul, he's not winning, but he's playing better. And that's the most important thing for him right now.
Yeah, he truly is, Jimmy. Thank you very much. Up next, a mural gets a second life after a big restoration project. We'll show you when we come back. A restoration is about to reveal a historic mural that caused quite a controversy when it was painted nearly 70 years ago. It's called Tropical America. It was created by artist David Alfaro Cisqueiros and hung on Olvera Street back in 1932. It depicts the suffering of native people under U.S. expansion. It was quickly painted over, but it inspired a generation of muralists. Bit of history there. Well, help for parents in Palmdale coming up. A low-cost supervised after-school program at 5 elementary schools. A little help for parents in Palmdale. The city is offering a low-cost supervised after-school program at 5 elementary schools. Students can hang out and get help doing homework, create arts and crafts, or play outside at these fun centers until 6 p.m. That's a pretty good deal, isn't it?
Yeah, very good deal.
Particularly the playing outside deal. We'll see you back here at 11.
Any kind of playing.
Yeah.